One unexpected public appearance. That's all it took. Cameras caught Tyrus stepping out with a woman almost no one recognized, and the reaction was immediate confusion. Then shock. Who was she? Why had no one seen her before? And how did this part of his life stay hidden for so long? She wasn't a colleague or a TV personality. She was his wife, Ingrid Rink, and once fans realized who she really is, the story took an entirely different turn. So who is the woman walking beside Tyrus? Where did she come from? And why does their relationship feel nothing like people expected? Stay with us, because this reveal caught everyone off guard. George Timothy Murdoch, known to the public as Tyrus, was born in Boston on February 21, 1973. From the very beginning, his life was shaped by instability. His mother was just 15, his father 19, and the home they shared was marked by fear rather than protection. Violence was routine. His father abused his mother, and before long, Tyrus became a target too. One beating was so severe it left permanent damage to his eye, the moment that finally pushed his mother to leave. The danger didn't end there. Tyrus was the oldest child in what was then an illegal interracial marriage, and the tension surrounding that reality only intensified the abuse. One incident nearly turned fatal when his father tried to throw him out of a high-rise window. When his mother fled back to her family, she was told she could stay, but her sons could not, because their father was black. Tyrus and his brother were sent into foster care, a separation that cut deeply. As a child, he became convinced that changing the color of his skin was the only way to be accepted again, a thought that stayed with him for years. Eventually, the family reunited in Los Angeles, but stability never followed. His mother worked relentlessly, sometimes 80 hours a week, and they moved constantly, never settling long enough to feel safe. Then history repeated itself. His stepfather was violent, and one assault knocked out Tyrus's front teeth when he was just 13. By 16, he had reached his breaking point. After one final fight, he packed what he could into a trash bag and walked away. From there, he survived wherever he could: couches, coaches' homes, even school locker rooms. He didn't ask for help. He endured. The one constant was football. The field gave him structure when his life had none. It gave him mentors, discipline, and a sense of belonging. Nothing was handed to him there. Everything had to be earned. Football didn't just give Tyrus a future. It gave him purpose. And in the middle of chaos, it gave him a reason to keep going. After high school, Murdoch took his next step at Antelope Valley College in California. On the field, he stood out immediately. As an offensive lineman, he played with brute strength and a raw physical edge that earned him all-conference honors. His size and presence didn't go unnoticed, and before long, coaches from the University of Nebraska at Kearney invited him to join their spring program. At first, a Division II school didn't sound like the dream. But once he arrived, that hesitation vanished. The facilities impressed him, the culture felt solid, and what seemed like a fallback option quickly became a turning point. Murdoch spent 2 seasons with the Lopers, anchoring an offensive line that averaged more than 300 pounds per player. The 1994 team finished 8-3, and a narrow 13-12 win over Nebraska Omaha stayed with him. Still, the real impact came off the scoreboard. Coaches like Claire Boroff, Darryl Morris, and Scott Hoffman became mentors, teaching him discipline, accountability, and how to carry himself as a man. For the first time, he felt guided, not just coached. After college, he chased football as far as it would take him. He played arena football, attended NFL tryouts, and pushed every door he could find. At the same time, he made sure to finish his education. In 1998, he earned a degree in physical education from UNK. He couldn't afford to attend his own graduation, but pride kept him from asking for help. When injuries finally ended his football hopes, reality hit hard. Murdoch adapted. He worked as a substitute teacher during the day and as a nightclub bouncer at night. For a time, he even did security work as a bodyguard for Snoop Dogg. Then, in a moment that would quietly change everything, he broke up a fight at a club with an almost effortless calm, restraining two men at once while joking through the chaos. A professional wrestler who witnessed it immediately saw something more. That encounter opened a new door. Murdoch entered the world of professional wrestling, debuting in WWE in 2006 as Brodus Clay. In 2014, he moved to Impact Wrestling, where he became Tyrus. From there, Murdoch's life took an unexpected turn into television. What began as light-hearted exchanges online with Greg Gutfeld eventually led to an invitation from Fox News. By 2016, he had become a regular presence on Gutfeld, where his humor, calm delivery, and unconventional background made him stand out. Between 2018 and 2019, he also served as a co-host on UNPC. Then, in the spring of 2019, things shifted abruptly. Viewers noticed that Murdoch quietly disappeared from UNPC on Fox Nation without explanation. There was no farewell or on-air acknowledgement. Tom Shillue stepped in alongside Britt McHenry, and at first, the silence suggested a routine programming change. That assumption didn't hold. By June, reporting from the Daily Beast began to shed light on the situation. According to those reports, Murdoch's removal followed a formal complaint filed by McHenry. While he moved on to host his own program, Nuff Said, details about an alleged personal dispute between the two co-hosts surfaced. Sources described a conflict serious enough that Fox News chose to separate them rather than address it publicly. As expected, the network declined to comment on internal matters. But the issue escalated soon after. In June 2019, McHenry filed a lawsuit against Fox News. The filing came months after reports alleged that Murdoch had sent her unsolicited text messages while they were working together. McHenry claimed the messages began after they started co-hosting UNPC in late 2018 and intensified over time. According to the lawsuit, she alleged that after rejecting his advances, the workplace became hostile. The complaint described an alleged pattern of messages sent between October and December of 2018, claiming they grew increasingly explicit and aggressive. McHenry also alleged that the tension carried over into the workplace, creating what she described as an unpredictable and volatile environment, with communications that shifted rapidly from flirtation to hostility. After a work-related dinner, McHenry alleged that Tyrus drank heavily and acted in an aggressive, overtly sexual way toward her. Given the seriousness of the claims, Fox News hired two outside law firms to investigate. According to the network, neither review substantiated her allegations. Both McHenry and Tyrus remained employed by Fox Nation, but their roles changed. McHenry was paired with a new co-host, while Tyrus was removed from UNPC and reassigned to an interview-based series that largely kept him away from the studio. Fox News later issued a formal statement, saying it could not comment on personnel matters but stressing that strict procedures were followed, independent investigators were used, and the issue was considered resolved. McHenry publicly pushed back. Shortly after the story became public, she posted on social media implying she had evidence to support her claims. The post was later deleted. Not long after the Daily Beast reported on the situation and Tyrus's removal from UNPC, he returned to Fox News programming. He appeared alongside Dana Perino on the Daily Briefing, discussing criminal justice reform and second chances for former inmates. To some viewers, his remarks about redemption and fresh starts felt pointed, even though the segment remained focused on policy. The appearance ended amicably, highlighting shared charitable efforts. Behind the scenes, however, the dispute continued. In October, McHenry filed a confidential complaint with the New York State Division of Human Rights against both Tyrus and Fox News. The network stood by its earlier findings, calling the filing a repeat of claims it had already addressed and saying it expected the case to be dismissed. McHenry's lawsuit challenged that position. She argued that Fox News's public stance of zero tolerance for harassment was misleading, alleging that after she raised concerns, she was isolated, excluded from events, denied opportunities, and barred from appearing on Fox News Channel programs. In her view, the zero tolerance was directed at the employee who spoke up. The filings also questioned the investigations themselves. McHenry alleged she was faulted for not producing certain text messages she claimed were fabricated and backed by altered images. She maintained those images were not hers and could be traced to unrelated sources online. In December 2019, McHenry filed a federal lawsuit in Manhattan against Fox News, naming the company, several senior executives, and George Murdoch, publicly known as Tyrus. She described the fallout as career-shattering, claiming her reputation was damaged and her opportunities sharply reduced. While she said she was pushed to Fox's streaming platform, she alleged her former co-host was rewarded with his own show. Murdoch's legal team flatly denied every accusation. His attorney said Tyrus would fight the claims aggressively, accusing parts of the media of fueling a smear campaign and hinting at possible defamation counterclaims. Fox News echoed that position, stating the allegations had already been reviewed by the New York State Division of Human Rights and independently investigated. The network said it expected the case to be dismissed in full. The dispute took another turn when McHenry alleged the investigative process itself was flawed. She claimed an investigator made inappropriate remarks about her appearance and suggested she had encouraged Murdoch's behavior. His attorney rejected those claims as well, saying Tyrus welcomed a public court proceeding to clear his name. In July 2021, the legal battle ended. Fox News reached a settlement with McHenry. The terms were not disclosed, but the network said it remained confident it would have prevailed and chose to settle to avoid prolonged litigation. Murdoch's attorney emphasized that the claims were dismissed with prejudice and that Tyrus paid nothing, again denying all allegations. McHenry later said she was proud of standing up for herself and hoped her actions empowered other women. While maintaining her version of events, she said she was ready to move on. Reports indicated the settlement required her to leave Fox News and Fox Nation, but she continued working in television as an analyst at Fox 5 in Washington, D.C. As the legal story faded from headlines, a quieter chapter was unfolding in Murdoch's personal life. In January 2024, Tyrus married his longtime partner, Ingrid Rink Herbert. Those close to him say Ingrid had long been his emotional anchor. Their relationship began without fanfare in the fall of 2014, sparked by a chance meeting and casual coffee dates in New Jersey. Over the next decade, the partnership deepened naturally. Friends and family often assumed they were already married, and the couple rarely corrected them. Titles mattered less than the life they were building together. That mindset carried through their engagement. In April 2020, Murdoch proposed privately, choosing a deep green emerald ring that reflected Ingrid's individuality rather than tradition. They stayed engaged longer than most, focusing on the future instead of rushing toward a ceremony. That future eventually led them to a quieter life in northern New Jersey. On January 6, 2024, they were married in an understated, meaningful ceremony. Not a dramatic turning point, but a calm continuation of a relationship built slowly, deliberately, and on their own terms. By spring, they took on their biggest step yet, settling into a farm property in northern New Jersey. The move wasn't just about land or scenery. It was the physical outcome of years of quiet planning, patience, and shared intention. That new life was built on a foundation Ingrid Murdoch had been shaping long before it became visible. Ingrid's path began with health. Her interest started in her teenage years and grew into more than 2 decades as a personal trainer. Over time, she founded the Rink Routine and later Sensible Meals, both grounded in a simple belief: daily habits decide long-term outcomes. Her commitment wasn't theoretical. She lost 150 pounds through consistency and discipline. When her son was later diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, her focus sharpened even more. She began preparing precise, portion-controlled meals to help manage his condition. Friends soon asked for the same help. What started as a necessity quietly turned into a growing business. As a CEO, Ingrid has openly said she learned along the way, guided more by determination than polish in the early years. Her goal was never perfection. It was to show her children that effort and persistence could build something real, even without ideal circumstances. At home, life is full. Ingrid's son Rhett lives with them, along with at least 2 children Murdoch has from a previous relationship. The household is busy, loud, and constantly moving. That energy only intensifies because their home also doubles as what they jokingly call the Tyrus Zilla Zoo. The property houses fish, turtles, snakes, lizards, chameleons, and other exotic animals. Murdoch has spoken candidly about how much the animals mean to him, even crediting them with improving his mental health. The irony is that Ingrid never considered herself an animal lover. She once admitted she didn't enjoy animals or reptiles at all. Still, when the family needed structure, she stepped in and turned the chaos into order. She created schedules, assigned roles, and even taught herself new techniques online to improve the animal's environment, including piping in storm sounds to encourage breeding. She jokes that she delegates rather than does the dirty work herself. But the system runs smoothly. Their daughter Georgie focuses on bonding with the animals. Rhett handles the heavy, messy tasks. His girlfriend Julia keeps the enclosures clean and organized. Ingrid oversees it all, unapologetically running the operation like a manager who expects results. Murdoch has said the change was transformative. Having Ingrid take control brought calm, balance, and structure into his life. Their marriage, however, hasn't been untouched by difficulty. Alongside personal milestones, they've had to face intense public scrutiny. In 2019, Murdoch became the subject of a lawsuit filed by a former co-host. The case was dismissed 2 years later following an undisclosed settlement. In December 2022, Ingrid hinted at the emotional toll it took on their family. In a social media post, she described the year as deeply traumatic, while also crediting her husband for stepping up as a stronger presence at home. She shared how he encouraged her to step back, spend time with their daughter, and give herself room to heal. The message ended with gratitude. For rest, for family, and for quiet moments away from public noise. It offered a rare glimpse into how they endured pressure together. Through every chapter, their approach has stayed the same. No rushing, no shortcuts, just steady progress forward.